I'm familiarly known as Xhosa Nduku, but the name that my mother and my father gave me, Ulizwe. I come from the Amabele clan. I belong to the community of culture, in the sense that I'm an African. And I was born and bred as an African. I was born in Matata. When death occurs, the environment changes. The atmosphere also changes. For those who keenly observe on how Mother Nature functions, will tell you before even hearing the news that there is somebody who has passed away because of the nature. And also, some may even tell you that an important person in the society has passed away, because nature tells you that there is a separation of the spirit and flesh somewhere. But I'm saying the mood changes in the family in the sense that even if you were expecting death, because at times, if I become sickly for quite some time, it reaches a stage where even my family would pray that, oh Lord, help us. If you can't save him, please relieve him of the pain. But I'm saying, subconsciously, they might be acknowledging that now the time has more or less come. But when it occurs, it starts to be a knock and a shock to everybody. Now, it changes the environment. It's the beginning of the journey now of mourning the departure of the spirit, but also ensuring that the spirit is afforded a peaceful journey. It's the beginning of the journey. But in terms of our own African customs, is that throughout that process, the spirit is communicated to, is commanded. The spirit is communicated to. And again, you'll find that this is our African belief, but you'll also find in also other religious beliefs. If a person passes away, let me not make an example about somebody else, let me make an example about myself. If I die here, and now this body has to be taken to the mortuary for storage, because the spirit at that time is still lingering around this body. Remember, it is out of the body, but for a certain period, it will linger around the body, because the journey has just started. I have to be communicated to that we are taking you now, Tata, and you are going to this place, and from there, this is what will happen. That becomes a process perpetual, and that the case, the spirit must be communicated to, the spirit must be commanded. Then that comes as to who must play that role? It is a person who has got the authority. Some may say in terms of age, but it may not necessarily be in terms of age. It may also be in terms of anointment, or terms of delegation of the anointment, or sub-delegation of the anointment. Because what is important, on top of all the rites that we perform, but what becomes a strong authority is the word of command. Is the word of command. Now, when I actually conduct a ritual or a African indigenous prayer to the spirits, now when I actually conclude and say Pula Haine, it's a very sensitive when you get to the distinct roles that are played by different persons, male and female. Because some are not necessarily based on the patriarchal approach of things. Some are based on the biological implications. And at times they ended up being misconstrued as if they are based on patriarchal issues, which is not necessarily the case. But it's not easy, even if it's my daughter. I cannot go and ask as to say, what is your biological cycle in terms of your state? I can't do that. Who are the custodians of culture in the family? Who are not actually, who are not expected to change their identity no matter what happens? It's men. Because a female, you can be Mokhoba today and be Chichana tomorrow. But I am Bele, Gampele, and my son will be Bele, Gampele. So, male, they are the custodians of the lineage of the family. So they bear that authority as it evolves, because the baton will move from the Mbele to the next Mbele to the next Mbele without changing hands. That's how it flows. So, safely there, they've got an important role of guiding the Mbele spirit and command that spirit. Now, similarly, there are things that during the cycle, as a female, you cannot participate in certain rituals, because it is regarded at that period, it's a period that you are not pure. And so for a male species, there is no such biological implication. But what is important, you must observe the conduct requirements. That this is how you should conduct yourself before doing this. But the third aspect, we perform rituals and rites and we use spears. And that spear is a baton of the family. And that spear must be handled with sacredness. And that spear will always be at the hand, will always be at the hand of a male in the family. Because that male is a male who resembles to be the head of that family or clan. And that's what referred to as the authority. Hence I said, it can be performed by that person or delegation. I want even sub-delegation.
On stages, what then happens?
Okay, thanks. Remember, again, where we're coming from. We're coming from a stage where a person would die and the person would be buried on the second day and at most on the third day. That's where we're coming from. So this thing of keeping the remains, storing the remains for, is because of the modern times that people are working and all those things. We need to do preparations. So I think that's another dimension. But when you get home, finally, the spirit must be received. Remember that somebody who fetched that spirit was communicating with the spirit. And when that person arrives home, must hand over that spirit to those elders who are at home. That's why you'll realize now that there are roles. They said there is a role and there's also delegation. Because also the person who receives and welcomes the spirit must be a person who has got the authority. You can't play dual roles. You go and fetch the spirit, you command the spirit, you deliver the spirit, and also receive the spirit. So somebody must receive the spirit, welcome the spirit. Because somebody has brought the spirit and delivered the spirit.
Sure.
So, from there is supposedly in the traditions of African people, special rite a ritual that is actually performed of receiving the spirit, entering the spirit home. Generally, that's where the slaughtering takes place. Slaughter a goat or a sheep, of actually we receiving and welcoming that spirit and say, we as the clan and the family of Amabele, we welcome you. This is home, you must settle. And they also appreciate and thank the one who has brought the spirit along. And also thank the spirit for allowing the journey to be smooth. So it's a ritual on its own, that way. And all the other things may continue. But I'm saying in terms of the African traditions, there are steps that are important. You may do all the other things. You may even mess in other activities. Because some of the things, they are just done merely. They've got nothing to do with our own cultural values. As you'll recall, I said at the beginning, a person will die today, and the following day is the day where the relatives and the friends are notified. And what they will do immediately, when they are informed, they will actually get on their ox wagons and their horsebacks. They go exactly where the death is. And the third day is the funeral. That's how it used to be. Most important is the observance of the traditional rites and the traditions and customs. But that observance, at all times, we must shy away from any form of distortion. They must be done in a proper way. And even those who purport to be giving guidance, it must always at times be counter-checked as to whether that guidance, is it a guidance that is just merely informed by their assumptions, or it is informed by the spiritual essence of guiding? Because most families, they land in troubles because of that. But the other aspect is that I think our people within the context of the spirit of Ubuntu, acknowledging the diversity of our society, but we must also observe and respect the departed ones. We must conduct ourselves at all times in a manner that is respectful and that gives space for families to mourn. But the families themselves, they must also demonstrate the same and commit that they deserve to be given space to mourn by demonstrating that they observe that moment in a proper manner, in a decent manner. That actually contribution by a particular family will contribute in the society and will contribute in the nation as a whole. And I think if we observe these basic things, we may actually see gradually the broken social fiber being reconstructed. We may find that gradually we are contributing in the peace, harmony, and stability in our society, where the social ills, the abuse, the raping of the elderly and women are things of the past. We can still resolve these issues by ensuring that we find our identity. We know exactly who we are, and we do things in a manner that identifies ourselves as to who we are as